Hi everyone, Joy here. As you guys know, I've started this podcast to, share my journey with you guys and hopefully inspire you all to become entrepreneurs. And today I have a wonderful lady on the interview. Her name is Cole, and she helps network marketers to put great systems in place. Are you thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not exactly sure if that is for you? Or you have tried a few times, but you have failed? Or maybe you are currently on your journey, but you're not exactly sure you're taking the right path and if you're doing the right things. Follow along on this podcast where I will be sharing my entrepreneurial journey with you all. I will be sharing my successes, my failures, and also my challenges. The best part is I will also be interviewing fellow entrepreneurs that will be sharing their stories and their successes. This is my podcast, Entrepreneurial Journey, and I am Joy Nicholson. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fabulous, thank you.
Excellent.
Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about you, where you grew up, what's your favorite pastime things, just a little bit so they can get to know you as a person?
Yeah. So my name's Cole, and I am actually from the U.S. and originally from Michigan, and I now live in beautiful Montana. I fell in love with mountains and just had to find a way to get there and managed it. I have two beautiful children, both under the age of 2, so my days are completely crazy. And I have a full-time job as well as network marketing and the addition of helping entrepreneurs, like you said, put in some systems and processes.
That sounds fantastic. And have you always been an entrepreneur, or is that something that kind of just bit you and you decided that you want to be one?
No, I have not always been one. I was actually a person who never really felt like I had a passion that drew me into like a industry or anything like that. I floundered for where I wanted to go to university. I floundered for where I wanted to take my career. And it really wasn't until somebody actually introduced me to network marketing that I got bitten by the bug and said, oh my goodness, like this is kind of where I see the future. This is amazing. And then through that got even bit harder by the entrepreneur side of another step further with the helping others in their systems and processes. So it wasn't until I got introduced to network marketing that I really, found my passion and realized that entrepreneurship and helping others was where I really wanted to be.
And that sounds so great. I always talk about, finding your passion and doing, something that you love to do. Do you think you found that like in the true sense of like you're doing something that you love every single day and you won't change it for anything?
Yes. And so I'm not quite 100% there yet where it's just what I want to be doing. I actually do training. That's my corporate job. And I love training. It's just not the field I want to be training. So I've really learned that, the network marketing and entrepreneur side of things is where I really want to help people, not the corporate side per se. So I do still do kind of what I love, but it's not 100% there yet. And we're getting there. So.
But that's fantastic. But that's exactly part of the journey,
Exactly. Yeah. It definitely taught me that I have the skills and I have the means to help people the way I love helping them. So, yeah.
That sounds awesome. Now, a bit of an interesting question. Do you come from a family of entrepreneurs? Do you, as your parents, were they entrepreneurs?
My grandfather started a home electronics repair shop way back when people bought things and you couldn't just afford to go buy another one. So all of their TVs or their radios or their microwaves, all that stuff. So they would take them to him and repair them. So he owned that. My dad took it over for a long time before, the economy kind of changed and what we were building for technology was more a throw it away kind of thing than a fix it and keep it. So in that respect, yes, I definitely had the entrepreneur side of it, but that wasn't prevalent like in my later stages of education. So I don't know that I would contribute it to me wanting to be an entrepreneur, even though it was there in my background. I'm still a little young when all that took place to maybe recognize that that's, an opportunity out there.
I completely understand that. What was your first idea or concept for a business?
So my first one was really just trying to help people understand attraction marketing. And I got so sick as a network marketer going onto social media and, whatever you do, whatever your niche is in the world, whether it's network marketing or maybe you're a financial person or whatever it is, you tend to like people and join forces with people or follow people of the same market, right? And so your feed kind of gets filled with just that. And so being a network marketer, my feed got filled with billboards of companies, right? It was all about their products and their companies. And it just drove me nuts because I didn't see how anybody was going to succeed. And so that's where I started feeling like, okay, we've got to help people understand that this is not making them want to buy from you. All it does is give them 15 people selling the same thing. Now they just have to pick and choose, right? And so that's where I realized that attraction marketing is really where I wanted to start. And once I dug in there, it just kind of expanded and morphed into where it is today.
That is awesome. And I get that because sometimes I would go on my Facebook and I just have all these people sharing their links everywhere. And I'm like, people, this is not the way to do it.
Yes. But I mean, to their credit, like I understand you're brand new into a company, right? You don't really understand and you're just trying to make it. You want to hit the ground running as fast as you can so you feel successful and stay in the company. So I get the approach that network marketing companies have and uplines have in trying to tell people that's a good way to go about it. And I think there's a shift coming. I really, really do. We're not quite there yet. But I understand where that whole concept came from. And as network marketing became more prevalent and the internet makes everything so easy, it became worse and worse of a situation versus a better situation for people to be successful.
I completely agree with you on that statement. I definitely do. Interesting. I was actually part of an affiliation group or network marketing group, and they were the strict kind, and you probably would know this as well. You know, they were like, you only do your one top 100 list and you only approach those people and you don't do anything else. And, you know, and then you're like, at the end of the list, you probably don't have any friends and family left, but it's okay. That's what you need to do. And it's interesting because I still get the emails from this company because I still use their products. I love their products. And I got an email the other day where they actually now have a little course in place where they're teaching people how to do things online. And I'm like, dude, I've been telling you guys this for like a year.
Forever. Yes, exactly. Like I said, I think there's a shift coming. It's very, very slow and it's very, very few companies or even successful teams within the company that are making the shift. So.
That's exactly it. It's just that getting that mission out there.
Yeah.
Now, let's go a little bit into, because I actually like the way this conversation goes, because I've got a lot of friends that, are in that space and they're very set in their ways because they don't want to listen to what I'm saying to them, but I'm trying to help them. Now, obviously, this is your expertise. So can you give us a bit of an example of like, what's a typical thing that you need to do to become a successful, not call your 100 list, but, a little tip and trick that somebody can try when they just start, network marketing that doesn't quite work the old traditional way?
So I think the very first thing, like, first of all, you got to be present online, right? Like you can't just post once a week or once a month and expect that people are suddenly going to jump on a sale that you promote, right? So you still have to be present, but in your present, create curiosity. You don't have to plaster your company or your brand or your product or the sale out there. You can simply make posts that encourage curiosity of before and afters or your own journey with it, why you decided to join the company or use the products or, whatever the story that you have is. And if you can do that, then I think people are going to be 10 times more interested in what you're having to say, right? Because you're not beating them over the head day in and day out with buy this, do this, join me now, like it's a ground floor opportunity. People don't care. They don't care about like the technobabble, as it's called, like why your product is non-stick or why your hair product, grows faster. They don't care. They just want to know the results. And so if you just create curiosity for anybody getting started in any area, curiosity is the way to go and get people interested into what you're doing. And you don't have to do some like, they talk about launches and making sure that you put up a post that says, hey, I just joined this great new company and, who's interested in finding out. I don't even think that's necessary. I really think that if you just act like it's a normal part of your day, right? Like you don't suddenly announce, oh, I'm going to go try this new restaurant. You go and you eat it and you love it. And then you say, hey guys, I just had this fantastic meal, right? So you have to think about it just like your everyday thing if you want people to really buy into you and like what you're trying to present and want to choose from you versus somebody else.
I love this advice. I think it's spot on. It's fantastic. And it's that consistent, valuable content,
Yeah.
That's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, what is the struggles that you face every day or every week or, what is your struggles that you have?
So I know what I want to do, right? Like I'm super giddy and fired up over it, but sometimes you have those road bumps where you start to doubt whether you're on that right track. So, even in network marketing itself, even if you're not doing the entrepreneur side where you're adding something above and beyond, getting out of your own head and saying, you know what, just because today was a down day or I didn't have the motivation to reach out to certain people or make that post, getting, those doubts and past those doubts and fears is one of my big struggles. And I don't know that that'll ever disappear, right? I feel like the better I've done and the further I've gotten, the bigger those fears become. Like, they don't disappear when you start to have some success and some traction. It just becomes more, not more, but a different type of fear. So, constantly battling those, they don't ever go away. And you just have to know that they're a part of the journey, and that if you can see yourself on the other side, you'll get there. You'll get past it. You just have to put one foot in front of the other and work on the small goals to get to the big goal.
Great advice. And I agree with you on the struggles, because everybody has different struggles.
Yes.
And sometimes it is hard just to get motivated for the day, because, you're exhausted sometimes.
And everybody has confidence in different parts, right? Like, some people are really confident in talking to people and others aren't. And some people are really confident in their knowledge of a product, where others are like, I don't know anything about the product, but I can talk your ear off and make you my friend. So, my struggles are not your struggles, and I can't help you through what I feel confident in. But if you can find somebody who resonates with you in those same areas, that's a great booster to encourage each other on and kind of hold each other accountable. And I've had really good success in finding those people. And you just got to keep trying. It's kind of like trying to find the perfect doctor, or even friends. You have to kind of go through a few before you realize that this is your person, right? Like, they speak your language and they get you. And once you can find somebody like that, it makes a big difference in getting through those fears.
A bit of advice from you in that regard. Where do you think you find people like that? Because being an entrepreneur sometimes is quite a lonely world.
Yeah.
You feel like sometimes your closest friends and family don't. I'm lucky I don't have that situation, but I know of friends that even their own spouses do not support them.
Yeah, it's so sad.
So what's your advice? Where do you go and find people that's in your similar mindsets and starting this journey, and that you don't feel so lonely?
I love the internet. So most of the people that I have teamed up with, I've never even met, but yet talk to on Facebook Messenger or text message or whatever, because we've grown so close. And so places like Reddit has some fantastic groups for all different areas of the world and different entrepreneurial tracks. Facebook groups are really great. And, people always talk about getting into Facebook groups and trying to befriend people and how you can send them back. I just get in them to find people of like-minded mentality that are on the same wavelength. I'm not there to push my product or anything. I really just want support and connection. And so that's where I find them, is in those Facebook groups. It's not about building my business with them. It's really just about having somebody who gets me, who gets where I'm coming from and what I'm doing. And that's where I've had the best success. And then one-off, which I don't know how frequently this would happen for people, but I had actually signed up for a coaching course and became super great friends with the guy who ran it. And so we connect every single day, and we're, constantly using each other as sounding boards. Hey, what does this idea sound like to you? What do you think about that? Can you go through this course I just created and tell me if it makes sense? That was a total one-off, and that may happen for somebody else, but that, to me, was an amazing find in that person. So
that is fantastic, because at the same time you're getting a mentor as well.
Yeah. And we both, so it's kind of funny because we're both restarting our journeys. So through our communications, we both realized that the path we thought we were on is still a valid path, but it's not quite that path that we wanted to be on. It's not quite that fire yet. And so we both realized where that is. And so we're both at ground one again. And so it's really fun, because now we can really bounce ideas off of each other, and nobody's looking at the other as somebody more advanced. Now we're back at the equal stage of, not coworkers, but just partners in crime. His track is totally different than mine, but they're still interconnected in a lot of ways that we can benefit from each other's advice and suggestions and overlooking.
That is awesome. That is such a great find. I'm really happy that you got that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, I got really lucky. I'm very excited that I found that too.
Apart from money, what is your other driving factor? What drives you every day?
So for me, it comes from the passion of wanting to help others. And so my corporate job is training. And I love the light bulb moments that I get when I teach somebody something and they're like, oh my God, that is amazing, right? There's just something that like gets me giddy and wants me to keep going. And so through that, that's where my drive is. Like, I know that I can teach people how to solve their problems, right? Like, I'm not saying I necessarily have a better way, but if they can tell me what their issue is in whether it's training or onboarding or just self-help for their teams or whatever their area is, I can find a way to teach it and put it in a structure that will be beneficial and easy for their teammates to succeed in those areas. And then once they're succeeding, everything just kind of balloons, right? And explodes and becomes better all the way around. So it's beneficial in all areas, whether it's just for them or not just for them, but also for their team and all the downlines below that. So that's what drives me, is like those aha moments when somebody's like, I never even thought about that for how to train my team, or I never even thought about that for an onboarding exercise, or, you know, how to keep tabs on them, or whatever the different, you know, items are. And so that is what really drives me. It really isn't the money. I mean, the money is amazing, right? Like, we all want money, but it's really the aha moments where I see that what I've done, either directly or indirectly, because sometimes it's just a passive comment you make and somebody is like, oh my God, that made so much sense and I implemented it and it's like taken off. Those types of things are what really drive me to keep doing it and help me realize that, yes, I'm on the right track and I'm doing the right thing.
That is amazing. Actually, it's interesting because just earlier I recorded a podcast episode that I'm going to play in the next week sometime. And I was talking exactly about feeling accomplished at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And just having that like, wow, today I did something that matters to somebody else. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful that you found that. That is really, really cool.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And, you know, before network marketing, I didn't have that feeling. You know, I went to my job and I did what I had to do and I had success and I enjoyed it. But I had no idea the pleasure that comes from getting something like this, you know, getting to really help people and really impact them and really make them successful. That's a whole different high of awesome.
Exactly. I completely agree. I completely agree with that. Do you have anything currently that you are working on that you mind sharing with us?
So my current thing is really expanding upon systems and networks for network marketers to onboard their teams. So I've done a lot of money, or I spent a lot of money in learning how to be a great network marketer. And all of them talk about duplication, but none of them really talk about how to duplicate. Like, what kind of systems can you put in place that make it easy for your team to follow? What are the ways that we can put training material out there that's, you know, easy for our team to utilize? And a lot of great big teams, and it's a fantastic resource, use Facebook groups, right? And then they have you search for certain hashtags or certain topics. But if you're brand new to the company, that's really overwhelming because you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know what to put in that search bar, right? And you get so bombarded with all this information when you first join a company that maybe you were told how to find it. And, you know, it was like the 30%, or it wasn't the 30% that your brain could retain. And so I definitely think that Facebook groups are an amazing thing and they definitely need to be kept. But I also think that there's great ways to streamline and self-help, right? So as a leader, I think we all go through it where you get to a point where your team is so big that you really start to realize that you're spending more time on them and less time on maintaining your own business and growing your own business.
Oh, yes.
And that's inevitable. You have to get to that point to realize that you've made it to this level that you now have to either delegate or find some other ways, right? And that's where I want to step in. I want to be that person that people can go to and say, okay, I need a system that really helps me not remove the human element, not remove that touch base with my team element, but gives them a resource or resources, multiple ways that they can find exactly what they need to know. So what's my first 30 days look like? After that, where do I go for information, or what should I be focusing on? Now I can learn about really like the techno babble that goes into our products, or, you know, that kind of thing. And just really kind of streamline it so they can, as a leader, go back to getting into their own business and succeeding with their own recruitment and their own prospects, and make sure that their team can still be successful, whether it's their downlines, because not everybody's a teacher, right? Not everybody's great at being a leader. And that's okay, because we're all that's one thing that's great about network marketing and entrepreneurship, is that even if you can't teach necessarily, you can still be super successful.
Oh, definitely.
But if you want your team to be successful below you, you've got to find ways and means to help them. And so this is one way that I want to, give back and contribute, since that's kind of like my jam. That's where I really love to live, is systems and processes and, problem resolution. So that's what I'm working on, is expanding that into really more of my kind of entrepreneurial side versus the thing I've already been doing pro bono, I guess I'll say, for my team and my teammates.
Carl, you're going to do amazing things. I can just see this. You're going to be one of those contributor factors that's going to take network marketing to the next level.
I hope so. I hope it makes a turning point and makes people really, really successful, because they can focus on what they got into it for, right? Which is their own time freedom and their own success.
I can just see this going to blow up. Watch this space, everybody. Watch this space. Where can people find you? Do you have links to drop? Do you have, where can people find you to reach out to you if they feel like, okay, I'm listening to this podcast and I'm in a jam and I need Cole to save me? Where can they find you?
Yeah. So it should be live later this week. I've been tweaking it, but the bluejeansboss.com is my website. It's currently down because I was, doing this shift from network marketing and attraction to really the process and systems. So once that is finished, like I said, by the end of this week, that'll be back up. And then I also have a podcast that I've been just starting, and that's also the bluejeansboss.com, and that's on, or not .com, but the Blue Jeans Boss, and that is on pretty much everywhere, Apple, Spotify, all that great stuff too. So you can always catch me for some better, or not better, but more advice through that too.
That sounds fabulous. Now, the last little statement, or a little bit of a question for you. If you can give let me try that again. If you can give any advice to somebody wanting to be an entrepreneur, but they're sitting on the fence and not quite sure if they want to do it, what would that advice be?
Nothing happens if you don't take a risk. That risk is always going to be present. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in your entrepreneurial journey. You're always taking a risk and going it all in for yourself. And so if you don't take that step and just put that one foot forward towards attempting it, you're never going to know if you're successful or not. You're never going to, have the goal in life that you're trying to create without just assuming the risk and putting your first foot forward, and then taking the next step and the next step. Start small. Don't aim so big. Just start little bits, and that risk will be a lot easier to swallow and deal with.
That's great advice. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Cole. I really enjoyed this interview with you, and I love what you do. And like I said, I can seriously see the success coming your way a lot.
Well, thank you.
Because it's amazing. And I've been in network marketing groups, and I can definitely see, why this is needed, what you're doing. So
great. I think so too.
Definitely. It's so exciting. You're going to change the world of network marketing. It's really awesome.
I hope so. I hope to just make it better. I just want it to be easier for people, and there's definitely ways to do that.
I'm so excited for you. I really am. And thank you so much for this interview, and have a great week. And thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and have a chat.
Well, thank you for wanting to. Thanks.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.